All right, welcome back.
That was pretty long actually. It was like hour and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it felt like 15, 20 minutes, honestly.
Memory lane. Before we start, well, actually, I'm gonna play that later. Okay, we're going to go into the second of the interview, which is basically get myself organized here. NY nightlife post 9/11. Where were you at September 11th on that day?
I was living in Queens, New York. I remember I had like a late night. Actually, the night before I went to the club, came back real late, like 4 or 5 in the morning, my usual. And one girl at that time who came to my house at like 7 a.m. created like some ruckus, like, oh my God, did you hear what happened? And I was like, I wouldn't wake up till like 2 in the afternoon those days, 2, 3 in the afternoon. She came on
Mm.
doing the television and, and I was just like half asleep. And I remember she left, she had to go to work. Then I woke up later and I remember going to turn on the TV and changing that every channel. And I was seeing the same thing. And it felt so surreal because
Mm.
I was just in the city the night before till 4 in the morning or something. No,
What
yeah,
club?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but I remember I went out because I was with a friend, and I remember she dropped me back home. She drove me
Yeah.
all the way back to my house in Queens, and I just remember the next day my girlfriend at that time like telling me, and we couldn't go inside. I think it was the Cheetah Club actually,
Mm-hmm.
Cheetah Club, and the city was closed for like at least a week or maybe longer. Like
Yep.
couldn't go to the city. I
Yep.
remember like when we're taking the train, you see like these two clouds or whatever, this cloud area from coming from like the World Trade Center. Some people I knew, like
Yeah. Yeah.
when I
Definitely.
first moved to New York, I did a bit of I had some side jobs, and I worked at some restaurants. That was like a side job. So I came to find out later some of the guys that like, I worked with actually was in the World Trade Center, and they passed away
Mm.
because they were from that time and stuff. They were working in some of the restaurants there.
Yeah. That morning I was at work. I had just gotten to work, and I worked um, right basically a few blocks away, so I kind of saw the whole thing go down. That definitely hit New York in a dramatic way, and it affected a slow change came about in New York right after that. Um, in your experience, what were some of the changes that you experienced from coming when you got there and then after 9/11?
Well, I got harassed quite a bit, a couple times. One
Talk
time,
it.
yeah, one time was I remember the girl I was dating at that time. We were going to get a movie. Forgot the movie place called, but anyways, and I remember when we came out, and this cop asked me like, put my hands on top of the car, and he wanted like pat me down and stuff, and you know, I don't know if that had to do with 9/11. That happened like a couple of days after, but there was another incident when I was at the airport and I was coming from Korea. I had a dance gig out there for the World Cup, and I was coming back, and um, we stopped in Anchorage, Alaska, and I was the only person that
Mm.
was not Korean, I think, on that flight because everybody left before. Like the whole squad that I came with, they all left, and I stayed back in Korea for another week because I wanted to explore a bit. And I had this long hair, I had a bit of a beard, So I guess like
Hmm.
I had that look, and I know a lot of Indian people were harassed throughout the country. A lot of like the Punjabis, the Sikhs, some of them
Yes.
murdered because they were mistaken to be Muslim. So that was like a big
Yes.
thing. Yeah, it happened to like some of my friends, family members. So I guess like, the way I looked had something to do. If I was clean shaven, I had short haircut, maybe things would have been different. But these particular
Mm.
guys at the airport really harassed me hard, and they're like some of the stuff they said. It was just it wasn't needed to be said. You know.
Could
Um,
imagine.
yeah. So it happened. So I was affected like in that sense. And I remember even in New York going to clubs, and I remember it happened a couple of times. One time in particular, I remember showing my ID. And this big bouncer was like, "No, you can't come in." I was like, "Why?" Like, we don't want you. We don't want you in. We don't want you in. And I kind of figured it had to do with the I was looking like kind of like that. That I had that look, like the Muslim look.
Hmm.
So I was like, I
Hmm.
just want to let you know that my name's Hindu. It's not Muslim. And I just spoke to him like that real nicely, and I just told him like, look, it's like you're, you know. Then he just let me in and stuff. So
Mm.
so yeah. So that's what happened after
Very.
11 for a while. We got a lot of. And I remember even like a time on the plane where this guy like sat next to me, and then he asked the waitress, he's like, I want to sit somewhere else, and so I got um, discriminated on, and I I don't knock anybody for it. I think it has to do a lot with also the media pumping certain information out there, instilling fear in people, um, and
Mm.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot began to change in New York.
Yeah,
The climate
the climate change.
shifted.
Yeah, quite a bit,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah. But in light of that, the commercial dance started to kind of like started to grow a bit. Um, I want to get into a group that you were in, GBA,
GB, yeah.
Guilty by Association. Um, how was that formed, and who were the members?
I mean, I wouldn't say GBA was really a crew. I don't think I was never one to be in a crew. Um,
Mm.
I always like to just kind of be to myself, and I love dancing with different people, just friends, not just everybody.
Mm.
So GBA was just, and we never thought of it as a crew. We just like, yeah, whoever hangs out with us, they're just kind of guilty by association. I don't know who made the name. I don't know if
Okay.
it was Sydney. I think Sydney or Dister made the name. I don't remember. But the first people was me, Sydney, and Dister. Dister came a bit after, I think. And then Efrat came a bit later. Um, I don't know if Dan was part of it because Dister Dister didn't really like Dan. So Dan was like, yeah, I'm part of GBA. And Dister was like, no, you're not. So there was always some kind of animosity. And I didn't care. I was just like,
Mm.
let's just go have fun. So I don't think it was really a crew like that, but it was just like
Okay.
we just got together, whatever you call it. And maybe other members came later. I don't know. I don't know if it even exists anymore, GBA. But it was definitely me and Sydney were like the first. And the district came a bit like after, or came around that time. Yeah.
Of course, Sydney, he many years later, I basically started a group, a trio with
Okay.
him, myself, and Brian Polite, the Rhythm Conclave. So now,
Okay.
Sydney's like my brother. He's like my right arm. And I remember that time that Sydney came in. At that time, I was going out, but it wasn't as much as I once did. So I definitely remember Sydney. Um, and
Sydney was like
I asked you guys because he's amazing,
he's amazing. And again, he's another
amazing.
example. He's from Arkansas, right? Like he was house
Yep.
dancing
No,
in Arkansas.
I want to say Tennessee
No, no, he's from
or maybe
Arkansas.
Arkansas. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, he is Arkansas.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I think Little Rock, Arkansas. And the way he dances
yeah,
house
yeah, yeah.
is very different than people in New York, you know?
Yes.
And you see he also mixes like a little
Yep.
pop rock and stuff. Like he had his own thing going on.
Yeah, yeah. And he listens to jazz, a lot of it. So
Yeah, he
every
listens to
time
jazz and he
I go to,
reads a lot of
yeah,
books.
yeah. Every time I go to New York, I like to be under the radar, but he's definitely one of the people that I always look out for. And when we get together, we just talk for hours. He's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah,
individuals that I can call a true friend, like a true brother, because we have so much in common, and
yeah.
I just enjoy my conversations with him. So Sydney is definitely like my brother. And Dister, I
If you,
met Dister.
I was gonna say, if you speak to
Hmm?
Sydney, I mean, just tell him I say hi. You can pass my contact. I lost touch with him. I haven't spoken to him for years. Have you-
Sydney's very mysterious. He's not an internet guy, but yeah, I'll
I know
definitely let
this.
him know.
But there was also a time like me and Sydney we were super tight. It was me, Sydney,
Yeah.
and Dister. And I'd say maybe kind of Byron Cox was kind of in and out too. He was there, you know.
Yes, Byron.
Yeah.
Yes. I call Byron the father of the internet age because
House
he
Project.
basically gave, yeah, he gave house dance a name on the internet.
Yeah.
So Byron Cox, definitely, he's the father of the internet age concerning house. With Dister, I met Dister, I want to say around 2003, 4 or later. And I remember his attitude being very confident. um, and I used to just love his swag. Like I would go to like Voodoo Ray, rest in peace, would throw parties, and he would always be there, and I would just sit and watch him. And I was like, this guy is just entertaining. So um, when you guys formed this crew, I immediately saw you guys individually with your own distinct styles,
Yeah.
but you were a crew. And I appreciated that aspect because you guys are very different in terms of your style, very different.
Yeah, yeah.
And this
Dister,
is something that I don't see a lot of.
yeah, Dister's foundation was more the hip hop commercial choreography. That's where he was coming from, like in the
Yep.
college. And I remember I met him at Sapphire Lounge, and he came with a friend Tatiana. You remember Tatiana?
Yes.
Yeah. So Tatiana, I remember Tatiana that night. She's like, "Oh, this is my friend Dister." And Dister was kind of like shy. He was kind of like in the corner. She's like, "Can
Yeah.
help him out and show him the ropes?" I was like, "Cool, yeah, yeah." I introduced myself and I told him like, "Hey, I'm going out to these different parties. Just come through, tag along." And that's how it happened with Dister. Sydney, I don't remember exact place where I met him, but I remember whenever I saw a new person, I was always like, "Where are you from?" Like, I wanted to show that person like the ropes of the city because it's like I know how it was when I first moved and I had to figure things out. I had a lot of good people like
Right.
show me stuff, but I know like to have that, that warmth and stuff is a nice thing. So Sydney we got pretty close. We went out a lot. We went out a lot. And I
Yeah,
remember
I
like
love Sydney. Cool brother.
Sydney's thing was like he danced at the clubs and at home he read books. And,
Yes.
then he read a lot.
True.
And I thought that was so cool. That I was like, okay, he's not like the stereotypical dancer.
No, very intelligent guy. Very intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent.
I, I want to get into another clip here. And you'll tell me about it.
Yeah.
No, that was um, House Dance Conference.
House Dance Conference, yeah.
Um,
The video says
one of the last
98, but
true.
it was actually not 98. I think it was like it was probably 2000.
Yeah, that makes sense because of the music you were dancing to. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a 2000 era. Yeah,
2000,
that's
2001,
definitely 2000 era sound.
98. So there was
Yeah.
like some defect on the VC.
I always say that House Dance Conference was the last true underground club for us because it was a party that catered only to dancers. I remember the birth of it. I was there, and I remember, you know, originally it was started as a dance fusion project, but ultimately Brian took it over. And I remember their whole mission was to kind of show us, the younger generation at that time, which they considered us, what clubs were like early 90s, like when they used to go to these different clubs like, the World and Kilimanjaros and things like this. And they kind of wanted to have like show recognition to these type of parties. And that's how HDC was born. And of course, it involved just not only house, funk, classics. It was a well-rounded party. Just if you weren't a dancer, if you were there and you weren't a dancer, it's because you just enjoyed dancing, because that's all that was going on, just dance. And if anybody that was there at that time, all you did all night was dance. So you going there, I want you to explain what the House Dance Conference was for you.
House Dance Conference. I mean, I went from remember going from the very first one. Um, it was it was competitive. I know that. Like there were so many circles happening upstairs. So there were two floors. There's upstairs and downstairs. And I think always one floor had like one music, and there was always house, but then there would have been like maybe some funk or some hip hop or
Mm-hmm.
like a mix. And there's like always a couple of circles on each floor. So I just remember always competitive. I was always like in the circle, but you were like the 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 energy was intense. It wasn't as laid back as, for example, like the shelter or something like that, because
Right.
at the house dance conference, it was all the dancers came for there. Even though it was called the house dance conference, there was house, there was the lockers, poppers, b-boys, like everybody came, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one party,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the first Thursday of the month, something like that.
Yes, the first Thursday of the month, because I had a practice at Faisal's for 10 years. So my
Okay.
practice was Wednesdays. So
Wednesdays.
it was
Okay, so it was
Thursdays,
the day
yes.
after. So yeah, it was yeah, and everybody was there. I went to a lot of them. And that clip that you showed was actually one of the clips of the uh whatever competition that I entered. That was a hip hop competition, but I entered like I think I did three house and did two hip hop ones. So that was a
Mm.
clip of the hip hop. I'm lucky I have that. And then there's a couple of clips of the house ones online. Cyclone has one on YouTube. It's called My Legends. But again, I was telling you, like, it's
Mm.
sort of grainy. It's got like, so it's like, it's kind of, it's cool, but it's a little like hard to see visually and stuff. But
Who won?
I never won anything. I don't know who won. I think, I remember the French guys always winning.
Okay.
Meech was, I mean, he was nasty. I mean, he was like super talented. Meech won. Maybe Sibo won one year.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, whoever won, they earned it. They definitely earned it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I did like five of those things.
Yeah.
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 I didn't do like a lot of competitions. I
Um,
did that, and I did like a few b-boy things, like Zulu anniversary and Rocksteady anniversary, and I did a few of those
Right.
things like here. I would like here, but I wasn't really so much in the competition stuff. I was more into just go have fun. I wasn't, you know. I think like this thing that I did recently with the Juste Debout and stuff, that was great. I had a lot of fun and we did really well. We got to like the semifinals out of like 50, 60 teams across North America. But
Mm.
those things you're like sitting around, like we got there at 10 in the morning and you're there till like 6, 7 in the evening before you go. Like you're
It's
just sitting
ridiculous.
around.
Yes.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of waiting around. And what I loved about the last time is like, though I've been out of the country for so long, like everybody embraced so much. I
Of
think one of
course,
the be-
because like I said, you're an imprint in the culture.
yeah, and I think one of the nicest compliments I had was somebody felt like they were watching a old VHS tape in real life. It's like,
Beautiful.
yeah, I was like, okay, I'll take that as a compliment. I like that one.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Before I ask you the next question, how do I pronounce your name properly? Because I know you as Tony.
Yeah. So my real name, my battery's dying, so I'm gonna charge it. So I have to change like position. Yeah. So my lighting's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my real name is Proshenjit. My middle name is Guy.
Or Shinjit. Okay.
My last name is Kundu. It's pronounced Proshenjit, but in the West they
Or
would
Shinjit.
pronounce it Prosenjit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very sensitive about that. I didn't want to pronounce it wrong. That's why I said Kundu dance. Let's
Kundu,
talk about that
Kundu.
era.
Oh, Kundu
Huh?
dance is just like my online name. I mean, Kundu is just what people call me.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kundu dance.
yeah, that understood. Around the 2000s, you said that footage was at HDC, but around that same time, there was the emergence of music videos,
Yeah.
like pop music videos, videos with choreography. I like to call it the Von Dutch era.
Okay. I mean,
You know, you had, and you did
I
a
just call
couple
it
of
really pop dancing. It's all pop. They call it commercial hip hop, but I just say it's just really pop, most of it.
pop.
I mean, it was done to popular
At
music,
this,
you know.
yeah, yeah. At this time, you were pretty much involved heavy in that scene. Like you did shows at Sabarite Club. So you think you can dance? Like, how did you get plugged into these places, these
Oh,
different videos, and these different events?
yeah. So I didn't do So You Think You Can Dance. I did Dance Fever. So Dance Fever
Okay.
that was kind of like the beginning of these dance reality shows, and I'll turn this down a bit. Like that was the beginning of these dance reality shows, and that's where we showcased house and breaking, and I did that with Jesus,
Yes, Jesus.
yeah, Jesus,
I miss him
Teddy,
so much.
and,
Yeah.
and Arthur. And that clip,
Arthur.
yeah, Arthur, yeah, that clip is actually it's on YouTube and stuff. It's there and stuff. So how did I get connected to all that? It was just I started going to auditions and I started making connections, and one thing led to the other. And actually, my first music video was with Voodoo Ray. We shot for this artist named Debola Morgan. She was like kind of like a one-hit wonder.
Mm.
So that was like my first thing. And then you start meeting people, and I think there was a newspaper at that time that would tell you about the auditions. I forgot what it was called. The Voice? No,
Mm.
I don't remember. I don't remember. But we would hear it from like word of mouth.
Yeah, it was a yellow paper, a yellow newspaper. I remember.
Yeah. You're right. The Voice, was it called The Voice? The Village Voice. Village
No,
Voice?
not the Voice. No, I worked at the Village Voice, but it's not that.
Oh, you worked there? Okay. Yeah, so anyways, it was like word of mouth, and and you guys came to know. And then later on, agencies came. That's it. Corey got it backstage.
Backstage Mag. Thanks, C.
Yeah, so agents came in. What was the agents called? Like Block Agency, Clear.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, us dancers, we had to fend for ourselves. So I remember doing music videos for like $75. Like the KRS-One video did, it was like I didn't get paid more than 75, maybe $100. Faith Evans.
Mm.
I mean, these were like big names.
Mm-hmm.
Raw Digga.
Mm-hmm.
She had Busta Rhymes featured there, and we were getting paid like 50
Mm-hmm.
bucks sitting all day. But for us to be in a music video, make $50 cash, and to get free food all day was a big thing. We were young and we were just
Mm.
like we just took what we could get. And um
Mm.
and then when the agents came, they kind of like set it all up. They had like this, the, how much you're supposed to get paid. So they were the ones that looked out for you. So I was part of an agency called Block Agency for a while, and
Mm.
they helped me get a lot of big gigs like Saturday Night Live, the FIFA World Cup, um, some other. I think Ashanti. Like I did some like worked with some big people through the agency and stuff. So they were good. And it was happened one day. I went to this audition and I was about to go, and I just kind of something clicked in me, and I left. I called my agency and I was like, I'm leaving the agency. I'm out. So
Mm.
I was doing well, but I just something in me I didn't want to do it anymore. And it was kind of like that was the year that
Okay.
I started wrapping up, and I kind of like left New York that later that year.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to get into that
Yeah.
later. That's
Okay.
actually a beautiful segue. You got led
Yeah.
up to that. Um, okay, so I mean, this basically concludes part two. So let's log off real quickly because I want you to set yourself up. I can see that you're kind of like trying to get comfortable, and we'll log back in for part three.
Okay. I mean,
All
here it's
right.
yeah, yeah. The only thing is, I'm just gonna keep it on charge. I don't really have any place unless I turn the camera around, but it won't be good for the viewers, right?
Try it.
Like
Yeah.
I
No.
can
No.
do it
No.
this way. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
It's
saying.
better.
It's not gonna work. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to
Okay.
log out if you don't want to. Like it's cool. Like
Well,
I'm good.
actually, I need to set up. So
Oh, you need to set
we're
up.
going to start part three, which is, yeah, the pioneer of Indian house dance culture. So that's in like 5 minutes. So we'll
Okay.
log off and log back on.
Okay. Cool.